this week. Off and running. Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Got them coming in.
They're coming in. Yay. 9 participants already. Hi. 3 attendees. Yay. That's more now.
Yeah, they're coming. We'll give them just a minute to get in and then we'll.
Okay. Hi, welcome to everyone who's coming in right now. We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
If you want to, in the chat box, go ahead and list your name and name of your business so we can know who you are, and we may get some information from you later on during this workshop.
Sarah and Sharon, since you're the kind of the lead in this, I'll let you just start whenever you feel comfortable.
Okay, I'm going to just give it one more minute because they're coming through the door.
Okay.
I can see them. They're all coming in happy-faced. Good to have y'all. In the southern place of y'all, right?
True.
Okay, 102. I'm going to start. Welcome, everyone. I'm Sharon Oxendine. I'm the Western Women's Business Center Director. Really glad to have you all here. We have a panelist of very wonderful business experts and some of our clients who are women and entrepreneurs, or women entrepreneurs, which is what we focus on. And so we're really glad to have everyone here today. I want to let you know that the Western Women's Business Center started in 2014, started over in Eagle Market Streets. And since that time, we have helped to create over 350 jobs and helped clients have access to $10.2 million in loans. So I feel like we've had a big team, a lot of people that have been out, boots on the ground, helping everyone. Our mission is focused on providing technical assistance and workshops, allowing for women entrepreneurs, for us to advocate for them for capital and access to capital. And so we're really glad to be here. I'm going to have my colleagues, Laura and Tara, introduce themselves and what they do at the Women's Business Center. And then from there, we'll pick up and go on with our other panelists. So either one of you can go ahead.
Go ahead, Tara.
Hi, I'm Tara. I'm the Associate Director at the Western Women's Business Center. I'm really excited to be at the celebration today. My role has a lot to do with keeping our programming running, grant writing, all of that kind of stuff. So, and I've also been putting together a lot of our webinars that we're offering while we're working remotely, and who knows for how long. So you'll probably be seeing my face on the internet a lot, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara.
Hi, everybody.
Laura.
I'm so happy to be here to celebrate. It's good to be celebrating today. It's been a rough couple weeks for everybody, so it's nice to be celebrating our small businesses. I am the client intake specialist at the Western Women's Business Center, and my job is to help with resources, to help with intakes, to see how I could help small businesses and what resources we have that we can provide. So I am the point of contact, usually the first person of contact, and I'm here to help. So. And I'm also here right now to help with SBA assistance, to see what we can, how we can direct you to get some assistance for your business during this time. So glad to be here.
Yes, thank you, Laura. It's really wonderful to have colleagues like Laura and Tara to work right now, especially through the disaster that has recently happened. Okay, so now I want to have Sharon Harvey, Senior Marketing Manager, also our director, to introduce herself and say a few things. Are you there?
Am I here? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, am I just introducing myself or am I doing my 10 minutes?
I think you're doing your 10 minutes right now.
Oh, okay. Hello, I am Sharon Harvey. I am the Senior Area Manager for Western North Carolina. And I am so glad to be here today to talk about Small Business Week and celebrate the successes of small businesses and how we're moving along. Although we are, we're going through the rough time of COVID, but at this point in time, it's time to celebrate some successes, because after this thing is over, we still are going to have to, pick up the pieces and figure out how we're going to pivot, how we're going to move forward. We have to figure out how we, restructure. We're here to help. So I just wanted to let everyone know. And Duane, I can't get to my screen. It says the host has disabled me. There we go. Thank you. I'm going to run through quickly what the SBA does, and because a lot of people really, didn't even know the SBA existed until COVID-19. So we want to talk about some positives today. So I'm just going to run roughly through some of these screens just so people can understand what we do, and then you don't have to look at my beautiful face. So I just want to say my job, once again, is I service I have 21 counties in Western North Carolina. So I am here to help those that are trying to start a business, grow a business, expand a business, whether it's contracting, whether it's exporting. So right now, the SBA, we want to make sure you have the right tools. Just want to make some clarifications. Typically, the SBA does not initiate loans as we are in COVID. So I don't want people to misconstrue what's going on with the SBA. Typically, when you come to the SBA, we're your second or third resort. It's after you cannot get capital anywhere else. The SBA is here to help you, whether you want to start or expand your small business. We have lenders and financial institutions all throughout North Carolina and the US that can help you do that. And if you are in need of capital, I want to make one thing clear, that you want to start your business or your business is doing fine. We actually have extended debt relief, no payments for any new loans from September 29th. There will be deferments. The SBA will be making your first 6 payments with penalties and interest. So we just want to try to make this thing as easy as we can for those small businesses that are trying to start, and for those businesses that are doing okay and they're now needing some additional resources to move forward. And then for some of you that are looking for their contracting opportunities, the SBA has 4 different federal procurement pieces that small businesses can take advantage of. And then also, for those of you that don't know, we actually help those for exporting. As I want to say, I'm going to talk about quickly the uses of the capital requirements and uses. A lot of people don't realize we have programs out there for small businesses that need as little as $500 to $5.5 million. And of course, most of the small businesses that I deal with are more so in the $100,000 range. But I just want people to be aware of that, depending on whatever your need is, whether it's small or large, the SBA is here to help you with working capital, whether that is, some of the seasonal businesses that are in Western North Carolina that need financing. If you're trying to look in exporting, we can help you do that as well. If there's some fixed assets, you now need some new furniture, you need to buy, there's a great piece of property that you're looking at, and this would be a great time to buy. We can assist you in that. And if you've got some machinery that may be old, we can help you replace machinery and equipment. And also we help with construction and remodeling. So those are some of the ways that you can use the $500 to the $5 million that's accessible through the SBA. It has to be for profit. I know during COVID, we're now helping not-for-profit, but, typically in a regular small business work day, the SBA helps those businesses that are for profit and doing business in the US and the territories. As I said earlier, the main thing is the SBA is here to help when you cannot get credit elsewhere. So Regardless as to what you heard during COVID and some of these other things, typically we're here to help that small business owner that, cannot get traditional financing from any of the other banks or financial institutions. As I mentioned, the contracting, we have the 4 pieces of, how did I go from exporting? Hold on, there we go, I hit too fast. We have the 4 pieces. I just want to go over quickly. Our 8A is our business development program, and it's for those that are those businesses that are owned by socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses. This is a 9-year training program, and if anyone's interested in that, I can assist you with getting you information on seeing if you qualify. We have our Hub Zone program, which is a set-aside piece for those businesses that are in blighted areas and or rural areas. And so I'd be glad to assist you with answering those questions. And of course, we have our Women-Owned Small Business program, which is another set-aside under certain NAICS codes for women that are 51% owned and controlled by women that are U.S. citizens. And then, of course, we have our Veteran-Owned Business Center. So these are the programs to help our veteran-owned businesses. And then, of course, people are saying exporting. I talk to small businesses all the time. I say, if you make a widget that goes within a widget, then you are actually exporting. So the SBA, there's 2/3 of the world's purchasing power is in foreign countries. And guess what? We are one of the leaders in helping small businesses do that by our great resource group that we have. We have a UZAC team, the Small Business and Technology Development Centers. They're actually helping with those that are trying to do contracting, as well as the SBA has their own international trade department. So if it's a question that I can't answer, I have someone that does nothing but trade, and then the state has their own STEP program. So exporting is another way that you can, help your business to grow as we're celebrating Small Business Week. And then we also have our financing options. So we have our express loans, our working capital loan, like if you need to, you've got a contract that's due and you need some capital to get your widget done so that you can put it inside the other widget. We're here to help you with that, as well as we have our international trade loans. And I think the best part of my job is our counseling and training. And we have our great mentors and advisors. I want to thank Sharon and her team today, because without them, we wouldn't be here. And they provide great training and assistance to those small businesses that are starting and those that are in, even those that are in the phase of trying to figure out, is this for me? So they have counselings and great trainings along with Duane and the Small Business Center and all of our other resources, whether it's the SBTDC or SCORE. We have a VBOX Center, which is once again, for our veterans. So we try to help all of those that are trying to start the new business process and or to grow their business, because the first thing we want to do is we want to help businesses to be able to start correctly. And as we found out during COVID, we've got a lot of work to do, because there are still some small businesses that have been in business and we've gotten a hold to them now, because we now need to help them to figure out how to straighten out some of the things that they're having or some of the issues that have caused them to not fare as well during this disaster. And so, as I said, we have trainings in person, so now we're resorting to our webinars, but I just want to let you know that you can look at all of the resources, once COVID is over, or even now. If you go to the sba.gov website, you can find all of our classes, as well as going on AB Tech Small Business Center, the Women's Business Center. We try to post everywhere, and we try to post everyone's information. But I just want to say that once again, we're here to celebrate. And I want to thank you for those that are on the phone. If there's anything that I can do for you, whether it's during COVID, this isn't really about that, but in order to help small businesses move forward, we have to address the issue and help them to, be able, as we say, shake it off and let's move forward. So once again, I'm Sharon Harvey with the U.S. Small Business Administration, and I am the Senior Area Manager of Western North Carolina. Proud to be, and you can reach me and send me an email at sharon.harvey@sba.gov. Sharon Oxendine, is all yours. And boy, this was a quick 10 minutes, but there you go. And I hope you have a great rest of celebration. So thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. That was wonderful. And we're really glad and lucky to have Sharon's experience in our area, especially when this disaster took over this part of the country, and we were having to deal with so many small businesses, and she's been working with us along with the district office out of Charlotte. So I also want to introduce another one of my colleagues and also one of our partners at the Small Business Center, and that would be Duane Adams.
Hey, y'all. Thanks.
Hey, y'all.
Thanks for having me here. I'm Duane Adams, Associate Director of the Small Business Center at AB Tech. And as you can see, we're always working. I am literally sitting outside right now, out front of the building. It's cold, it's about to rain, but you know what? We're still here to help. We are the front door to help anyone who's looking for any type of business assistance. Regardless of where you are in the country, you can still reach out to the Small Business Center, which is actually North Carolina-based network. I don't have the beautiful slides that Sharon Harvey has, but I will share my little mock screen here so that everyone can see it really quickly. And I hope you can see our Small Business Center logo. So this is the Small Business Center logo for Asheville Buncombe Technical Community College. So just to let you know a little bit about us, we are the most expansive network of community resource providers in the country. Again, we are based in North Carolina. Our network actually started, for those of you who may not know, it started in 1984. In 1984, the General Assembly decided that they wanted to provide a business resource, for every citizen in the state. And they wanted that resource to be within 30 miles of every citizen in the state. So in order to do that, they based us at the community college level. So there's actually 58 community college, small business centers in the state of North Carolina at the community college level. And that's a really strong network. You've got 58 directors who have varied expertise in business. Some bring entrepreneurship to the table. Some bring more corporate experience to the table. Some have food experience. Some have technology experience, textiles experience. So when you come to a small business center, you need to know that you have the strength of the state behind you. And we ask that you really take advantage of our resources, because we offer everything that we offer is free, but your tax dollars actually pay us. So the way we provide assistance for folks, we think of it in terms of 3 tiers. We have programs, we have counseling, and then we have community partnerships, if you will. Programmatically, our center specifically provides over 130 different types of training a year. So we're very proud of that. They are free, they're business related, and right now they can be 30 hours or less, and they're available to the public. Most of what we do runs anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. Most of our webinars would be no more than 2 hours. But that's just so that you can get some general questions answered about your business. And again, we can provide assistance in a number of different areas. We provide 7 core trainings twice a year, and everything else is pretty much up to us. And usually the content that we get that's provided for us comes through our community partners, collaborations with our partners. And it also comes from the one-on-one counseling that we also provide, which is that second thing I named, which is a free service. So we provide one-on-one confidential business counseling. We have a couple of general counselors, myself and my boss, Jill Sparks, is also a general counselor. We also have Daphne Carson, who's there to provide good customer service and expertise as well. But as a part of that counseling, we also provide professional services counseling, for those of you who may not be aware of that. So professional services counseling is a little bit more of a more focused or deeper type of counseling that we provide. And that's for folks who come in who need more specific questions answered about their business. So we do have volunteers who come in who may have expertise in taxes, web development, marketing, social media. So we have a lot of folks, and we have a lot of ways to provide comprehensive, what my boss likes to call wraparound services for our folks. We also have an incubation program on site. So a lot of you may also be aware of that. We do have specific territories, and I did want to mention that. So as you can see on the screen, we have different regions. We're split up in 8 different regions. And we do have territories, but that doesn't really mean a lot to you in terms of, for us, it just means that we can't market outside of certain areas. So for instance, AB Tech, we have Buncombe and Madison County that we typically serve. We can't market outside of those areas. So if you go to another county outside of Buncombe, Madison, you never see AB Tech advertising. But the good thing about us having territories is it allows us to, it provides us with focus. So we're able to focus on specific needs that folks in our area have, because every area is different. So in Buncombe, Madison County, I always say you see a lot of small professional services type businesses. You see a lot of creative entrepreneurs with craft businesses. You see a lot of food businesses, and of course, everybody wants to make beer now. So you see a lot of those types of businesses, and you see a lot of trends. So we stay on top of those and get in front of those so that we can provide guidance in specific areas. And then also with the collaborative efforts, which was the third thing that I named, we do a lot in terms of collaboration. We work with the Western Women's Business Center every year on the Women's Business Conference. We do a number of things in terms of facilitation of programs and doing in collaborating with the SBTDC and those folks to provide some basic general what we call group counseling type programs as well. We work very closely with Asheville SCORE. You may have heard of Asheville SCORE. They provide a large majority of the weekend programming that we have. They facilitate that for us. So we do that as a collaborative effort as well. So in order to reach out to us or connect with us, again, we do provide free counseling and free services. So if you're interested, abtech.edu/SBC. You can go to our webpage, and then there's a request for counseling link at the top. Click on that, and they'll ask you some general questions, and we'll get in touch. And that's it. That's me. And again, thank you, Sharon and WWBC team for having me here today. Really, really great.
Thank you, Duane.
All right.
We really do appreciate your partnership and everything that you do. So I want to move on with our other guests that are here today. We wanted to have, hey, stop it. Sorry, my dog, I've got repair people here. My dog's gonna bark. Okay, excuse me. I'm gonna see if I can lock her out of the room. She may tear the door down. But anyways, Duane's cracking up. This is the story of my life. Now she's out there going at it. Anyways, I want to say about Kaye Bentley. She's the Entrepreneur of the Year that we chose this year. And I want to just say that when I met Kaye, it was right before our Western Women's Business Center conference. And all of us were really certain that Kaye was going to do really well in her business. And I invited her to come speak. And at first she said, you know, I've never done anything like this. And I said, you'll be okay. I said, this will be your launch party and everybody will be excited and they'll want to hear about this. So we really knew that Kaye was going to be a success, and she has been. And if you don't know, if you haven't been watching the news, she's been out there and she's been helping other people right now. And I hope she'll share about that. She doesn't talk about that, but she's been helping other entrepreneurs right now. So I'm going to turn it over to Kaye, our Entrepreneur of the Year for Small Business Week.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the award and for all the support and everything that I have received. I do remember very distinctly you asking me to speak at that Western Women's Business Center conference. And at that time, I remember standing on the stage talking and saying we were in development for my website. So it was very, very new. I couldn't even tell people to go somewhere to check out the business. But it's really interesting because that conference right there alone, I've had people come up to me over the past almost 2 years that have said, I saw you speak at that conference and it's so cool to see your business now. So, you know, it does make a difference, and thanks for giving me that opportunity, even though I was terrified. So, so yeah, it's been an interesting time that we've been going through. I know everyone has been. For us, you know, in the middle of March, our tours ended. The rooftop bars closed. We were refunding lots and lots and lots of money, which was terrifying to see all of that money going out of our account. And, you know, it was pretty scary. So, you know, thank goodness the Western Women's Business Center was there, along with, you know, the Carolina Small Business Development Fund, and, you know, reached out. We were talking back and forth, and, you know, they were able to help with some modifications on the loan, which gave me a little bit of breathing space. You know, the SBA was part of that as well. So, you know, even though we haven't been able to run our tours, I was trying to think of a way to give back. And one of the things that has given me a great deal of inspiration is just seeing how the Asheville community has stepped up and helped each other. And, you know, I was seeing that, you know, there were a couple of restaurants that were taking food to the healthcare workers at Mission, and, you know, some other places. And so I reached out to about 4 or 5 of them and told them that, you know, we have a van, our tour van is sitting here, and instead of, you know, delivering people around the city, we'd be happy to help and, you know, deliver large, extra large, you know, meals to the hospitals. And so Ivory Road Asheville actually took us up on that offer, and so we've been able to volunteer and do that, and you know, deliver meals to the healthcare workers. And you know, I've also been volunteering some time at Mana Food Bank, because one of the things I realized was a lot of their population that does get to volunteer were some that were in, you know, the target zone for being most you know, susceptible to COVID. So so yeah, those are just some ways that, you know, trying to find to give back. And, you know, that's kind of where we're at this point.
Thank you, Kaye. And you did. I couldn't believe you stepped up into that podium, and you did a great job. And I knew from that point on, I've just watched you grow and grow. And so our next panelist, I'm really excited about too, is Jessie Dean. And I met Jessie through Scale Up, and worked with another woman who was with us, and we both were working with Jessie. I'd like to say that I helped Jessie, but I think Jessie helped me, because she made me understand what it's like to take a small company like she had and operationally grow it in the way that she did, because it was fascinating. It still is to me. She is a great teacher herself, and a wonderful entrepreneur, and she's mother. You know, she's like so many of you entrepreneurs out there. She's mother, she's wife, she's everything, and having to do it all. But she's got a great, so I want her to tell you a few things about herself too. Welcome, Jessie.
Thank you, Sharon. That was such a lovely introduction. I don't even know what to say after that. That's so nice. I'm really excited to be here, and it's been such a pleasure working with you. I did learn a lot from you, and there's no way that we could have, you know, we're still small and growing, but there's no way that we could have scaled to where we are without the support of you and Duane and, you know, everyone at the Western Women's Business Center and at the Small Business Center. We're now part of the incubator program there, which was your recommendation, Sharon, and Duane, we're glad to be there. Yeah, so really grateful for our community and for all of you. Also, Mountain BizWorks has been instrumental in that growth process for us. So I feel lucky to live in a community where we do have that level of support. You know, and Kaye, it's so inspiring to hear what you're doing for the community right now too. And I've been inspired by so many businesses who are having to pivot just like we have as well, to maintain our own businesses, but also immediately looking at ways to give back and to help our community. And it's been, while it's been a challenging time, it's also been a really inspiring time, I think, to see that happen. Anyway, I'm Jessie. I guess as far as an introduction, my business is Asheville Tea Company, and we create craft teas that feature local and regionally grown botanicals. So 80% of the ingredients we use in our tea blends are grown by farmers in the Southeast and primarily Western North Carolina. So that's really our mission, is to build out a supply chain here in the Southeast, and specifically our region here in the mountains, you know, to work with and partner with and support area farmers. We also are partnered with the Southern Appalachian Highlands Conservancy as and donate a percentage of our proceeds to them in order to help preserve farmland and wilderness in our area. So we're really excited about that new partnership. That's really our mission. I think there's probably a lot more to talk about, but I'm excited to be here on this panel, and thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, Jessie. We're glad to have you. I'm going to let Tara start with the questions. My dog is still having a heyday back here. So as the person can get off of my roof where I got a little hole. So I'm going to let Tara start with the questions, and we'll see how that goes. Go ahead.
Sure. So the first question is both to Jessie and Kaye. We have a few questions that we think can support any businesses right now, whether you're starting up, whether you've been around for a while and are needing to adapt at this time. I think these are questions that you can share your wisdom with the whole small business community on the line today. So the first question that we have is, what has been the biggest challenge for you and your business when starting up? And Kaye, I see you're unmuted if you want to start.
Okay, sure. The biggest challenge for me was starting a company that no one had done anything like this before. So that was the biggest challenge, was to get that point across. And I think it's real easy to assume that when you hear the name Asheville Rooftop Bar Tours, you know, people think, oh, it's a drinking tour, you know, another drinking tour in Asheville. And, you know, part of what we do on the tours is we share the history of the city from the rooftops. So trying to get that across, talking to the rooftop bars, in the beginning, they were thinking that I was asking for them to do something extra for our tour guests. And they were thinking maybe they need to open a little bit early or provide special food or drink. And really, I was just letting them know that we would be bringing them, you know, hopefully, you know, at least 10 people at a time. So the very first person that I talked with, one of the rooftop bars, the owner, it didn't really go off track, but after I was talking to him a little bit more, I realized that he was saying no because he thought we were asking of extra things. And then once I realized that, I changed my narrative and said, no, this is what we're going to do. And then he was very welcoming about, yes, please, you know, we would love to have you come. So I think that key right there led me to really think about what my approach was, and and I did approach all the others a lot differently. So it was a lesson learned, but just continue talking until, you know, everybody's kind of clear on, you know, what your point is and what you're asking.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
And can I just say that I've been on the tour and it's awesome. I would love to do it again. So I'm looking forward to when I get to do it again, but it's an awesome tour, Kaye. It really is.
Thank you. Thanks, Sharon. It was good to have you on there.
And if we have time later, we'll show Kaye's acceptance video for the Small Business or Entrepreneur of the Year Award. And you get to see some of the really great scenes from your tour on that. So yeah, I really think that's advice though that can help people starting out. I was just doing a coaching session yesterday with someone who said, you know, what's my message? I want to reach out to my first potential client, and what should my message be? And I said, just try to write it out and see what works. And if it doesn't work the first time, you learn, and then, you know, you can move on to the second one. So that's really great advice. Jessie, do you want to share with us what your biggest challenge was starting up?
Well, I wish I had thought a little more specifically. I think there's so many challenges when you start. My first thought was just, where do I start? what do I need to know about starting a business? Do I need to get a business license? Do I need some capital? Just those baseline questions. And I think for me, being able to have, like I said, resources in the community that I could go to was really instrumental, because then I could start to map things out and make a game plan, so that it wasn't just an idea, but I could actually get to the point of operating. But I do think time was another challenge for me. As Sharon said, I have two little kids, and so I think just for me personally, that was a huge challenge, trying to find the time to parent and also start up a business, which is a little bit like another little kid, and a baby that you're raising and trying to nurture and grow. So finding the time to balance all of those things has always been a challenge since we started up. I'm hoping that by building an awareness of that over time, that will get easier to manage. It's getting a little bit easier. Yeah.
Great. And do you want to tell us what's the most creative idea you've come up with for your business in adapting or?
I really like that question. I think that's a fun question, because I think a lot about this. When you're starting a business, I think there's always this question that comes up about, the question is, why are you starting a business? And I think the initial answer to that, at least for me, was, well, I'd like to have some flexible time. I have this idea that I'm passionate about, so let's give it a go. But over time, that's morphed into the idea that building a business is really the opportunity to build a platform to promote and talk about and make a difference in an area that you believe in. And so I think for me, that has become a really creative process. What do I believe in? What do I want Asheville Tea Company to stand for? How can I make a difference in our local environment and larger environment that feels worthwhile to me? And so that's something I'm continuing to think about and grapple with, but that's a big answer, I feel like. But that has been the biggest creative process. What do I want this business to stand for? And how do we achieve that?
Yes. Great. Thank you.
And I just want to add to Jessie's intro that I tried her tea the first time at Dobra Tea, and I had no idea I was going to be working with her. And of course, when I found out I was like, I want some more of that tea real fast. So if you haven't tried this tea, it's very different. This is a different tea. It's really wonderful.
Thank you, Sharon. That is the other most fun creative process, actually. Just coming up with the blends and finding out what's being grown here and what farmers are working with, and throughout that process, coming up with hopefully something new and different that that isn't already out there on the market. That's a lot of fun too.
Yes, it's delicious. I think I had the lavender chamomile. Is that one? It's so good. And I looked at it and thought lavender chamomile, and I kind of didn't drink it at first. I said, well, I'll just wait until I'm out of other tea. And when I drank it, it was so delicious. And yeah, the blends are very creative and tasty.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. That's a goal for sure.
Kaye, do you want to share with us what your most creative strategy or transition has been?
Probably the most creative thing in regards to Asheville Rooftop Bar Tours is the way that we share the history of the city from the rooftops. And we do that by showing historical photos of the city from the 1800s and 1900s. So, I think it's real easy to go to a city somewhere and be on a rooftop or something, and you're looking out and you're wondering what you're looking at. And so, we have a guide that's with each group on the rooftops that will share with them you know, what they're looking at, also give them some history, show them some old photos of possibly what it would look like or what it did look like. And so I think that was one of the creative things that really sets us apart, is to share that history in a very unique way. And, you know, Jessie, I wanted to say, you know, when I believe that your teas are in one of the lobbies, at least one of the lobbies of the hotels that we go to. And so I always tell people, you know, I want to get them to give them the sense of community that we have here in Asheville. So I'm always pointing out, over here we have a lot of locally sourced products. And I've said, you know, your company so often, you know, to point those kind of things out to people, you know, just to let them know, you know, how creative and some amazing, you know, products that we have here. And so that's, you know, that's one of the things that we want to do is build community like you were speaking of.
Thank you, Kaye. That's my favorite part too.
And that's a great answer, Kaye, too, with the blending the history. I feel like usually there's a history tour or a beer tour, or, you know, and just bringing all of those together is really smart.
Thanks.
So the next question is, what one thing do you wish you'd known before you started? I'll let either one of you start.
I guess I will start. One of the things I wish I had known, how difficult it is to run a business. So, you know, just everything from the bookkeeping to QuickBooks to understanding, you know, SEO and, you know, different platforms and social media. Everything. I wish I had probably taken some business courses, because I have a degree, but it's a teaching degree. And so owning a business was not anything that I had actually planned on until about 2 years ago. So, you know, this idea just wouldn't leave me alone for this company. And so I just kept pursuing it to see where it would go. And obviously this is where I am now, but probably just understanding, to have everything laid out about these are all the things that you have to do. And I didn't really understand the depth of that, but I learned very quickly, and I'm still learning. So
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. And my initial thought on this question is that I wish I had known that I would need more help, and that it's okay to need more help. You know, I think it took me forever to come around to the fact that I'm gonna need to hire people to help me and I'm gonna need to look for some mentorship and some guidance. And, you know, I can't do this by myself, and I shouldn't. I think that's the other key point is that, like, that's not the point, you know, is to try and do this by yourself. So that's something I wish I'd learned a little quicker, because now I feel so fortunate to have good mentorship and to have an incredible team of people on our team that really make the business stand for much more than I think it would have, you know, and make it more creative than it would have been, and bring in new perspective to help it grow in a more intentional way than I think it would have. So it's okay to have a team and to have help. That's one thing I wish I'd learned straight out the gate.
That's advice we hear a lot, is think about what you don't want to do. Like, a lot of people don't want to do their own accounting or their own QuickBooks, and they're afraid of how much it's going to cost to bring someone in to do that. And sometimes when you think about, you know, if you're a really creative person and not that detail oriented with that kind of thing, it can actually save you money in the long term than trying to do that yourself and not do it well and get messed up. And, you know, so what things do you need help with? What things do you not want to do? Yeah, that's really, really good advice. So next we want to talk about what's coming in the future. So we know it's uncertain times. A lot of businesses have been impacted. All businesses have been impacted, even those that are still able to be open, like the grocery stores and Lowe's, I think are impacted, but in a, you know, in a different way than those businesses that aren't able to be open right now. So the question is, what do you see coming for your business in the coming months? What will you need to change and why? And what are you doing now to work on this?
I can start. Yeah, I think so many things. We've had to pivot dramatically many times over the past couple of months. I do feel really grateful that our business, being in the food and beverage manufacturing space, has been able to continue to operate. That said, we worked with a lot of restaurants and a lot of cafes and shops and hotels and spas who are not able to operate right now. And so it's been really, really difficult to see that happen in our community with people who've always supported us. And it meant that we needed to change our business strategy as well, very quickly. We do have online sales. So kind of specifically, we've pivoted into putting a lot of energy into our online sales and offering things that are, you know, easy. Like gift boxes and subscriptions, so that it's just super easy to get tea, you know, without having to go out even necessarily. So we've been offering free shipping ever since mid-March, and we still are offering free shipping for wholesale and retail, just to make that easy. But anyway, I think otherwise, I've got some notes here. Other things that are shifting for us are that we're really taking this time to do a deep dive into our systems, like our inventory tracking, our, you know, sales and marketing strategy, and even things like we're about to launch new packaging. So we're super excited about that. We've been going through a design and sort of rebranding process that we're really excited about. So that's about to launch in the next couple months, as well as internally, hopefully, quite a bit more streamlined systems. So that's been a good thing to be able to focus on now. Yeah, I think those are the biggest things. It's a good time now to really, I think, look at those systems and the vision as well, sort of diving into your vision and where you want the business to go and what this time and what COVID means for that vision. Those are great tasks, I think, to do now, to then be able to come out of this on the other side and allow yourself space to pivot to where you need to go to be successful in the next few months.
Absolutely.
Those are my thoughts.
All great, yes. And we're doing that too. I think thinking about reporting processes and systems and all of that stuff, normally you're moving so fast that you don't have that much time to do a deep dive into all of your systems and operations. So I think that's really, really good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, there's usually not that kind of time for sure. Yeah.
Hey, what about you? How do you see things shifting in the coming months? And do you have ideas for adapting or anything you want to share?
This has given me a great deal of time, just like Jessie and all of us, to you know, to kind of sit down and look at things. It's helped me. You know, I've always had the passion of doing the tours and sharing that with people, and it's given me time to look at how I can extend that and, you know, kind of grow that market and connections that I definitely want to make a priority now, you know, with other businesses in our community. And you know, so this time has allowed for that. One of the things that I've looked at is, you know, a couple of other revenue streams for us, not just strictly the tours. You know, we haven't been in business quite 2 years yet. So, you know, these things are always on the list to do. And I'm really planning on getting there, excuse me, a lot quicker on those and putting some procedures in place, you know, to have that happen. And so, you know, we'll look at some other opportunities in case we need to, we get started, and it is going to be a slow start, dealing with the different rooftop bars. I'm communicating with them on what opening is going to look like to them, which will definitely affect what it's going to look like to us. And, we are staying on top of, all the industry standards as far as, sanitation and what we need to do and training our employees and all of that.
Thank you. And we just, go ahead, Sharon.
Oh, excuse me. I also wanted to get some input from the two business services from Sharon and Duane. I don't know about y'all, but a lot of the entrepreneurs that I see, they are also very concerned about marketing costs. And that's the first thing that they try to let go of. And I don't think that that's the first thing people should do. And I just wanted to get some input from Sharon and Duane.
You want to go? I'll go first. The first thing that people should really do is plan. I think the worst thing they can do is cut marketing costs. And I think that a lot of people do that because when they implement marketing practices, they don't determine ways to see if they're getting good feedback with those practices. And if they're able to see results and assess those results and get feedback, then they would never cut those costs. But it's usually, how can we survive in the environment that we're in? Like Kaye talked about, looking at different revenue streams, different ways that you can use the existing infrastructure to continue to serve your existing customer base. So always trying to get people to look at their existing client base and figure out how they can continue to serve them, but not cutting marketing at all.
And I will add to that, as marketing being my passion and my forte, I would say definitely let's not cut marketing. You can't afford to. What you need to do is figure out, what are you doing? How are you going to move forward? And what do you need? And when I say that, I've seen so many, for example, like restaurants, they've been open, but they've got the smallest itty bitty sign. You can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really doing you any justice, or it's not even painting a great picture of you as a business owner. Or, you've got some of those that are back in the, in the back of a strip mall. Well, if you're sitting off the street, no one knows you're there. I mean, and then this day and time, there's so many free platforms that you can use. So this is a time, maybe if you don't have any huge marketing dollars, use all those platforms. Let people know, hey, we're open. We're open from this time to this time. If you're having specials, if you're having a limited menu, this is a great time to pull out some of those great photos, so people can see what you have and what you're doing. If, and if you're a service provider, not a service provider, but you have things that people can buy online, let them know, hey, we're still here, but this is now how we can get the product to you. So, you got to let people know what you're doing, and you have to be visible. So the worst thing you can do is cut your marketing dollars and let people assume that you're closed or you're gone. So, figure it out. What is your return on investment? But like I said, there's so many free platforms, figure out how to use them. And then the other thing is, let someone else see that, because there is marketing, and then there is marketing that's not effective. So if you're not putting phone numbers or websites, or if you're not a marketing person, this is time. Give somebody a free meal or, free box of tea and say, hey, can you do this for me? Because a bad marketing piece can hurt you as much as a great one. So, but, have someone else look at it and make sure that it has all the information that people need to get a hold of you. And, let them know what the progress is. Let them know what your status is as we move through these next few phases. But, please do not cancel any of your marketing pieces. Just utilize, some of the inexpensive ones, and like I say, some of the free ones.
And one more thing I'll say, because Sharon just generated a couple more thoughts with me, but you use marketing also to let people know what you're doing. So one of the first things I'll say to folks is, what are you doing? What are you doing in lieu of all this COVID-19 stuff? So you've got to use those marketing outlets to let folks know exactly what you're doing. Marketing is also a tool for getting more customers. if you're that person who looks at selling your business in the future, people are buying your customers. That's what they're buying. So that's the most important asset that any business, in my opinion, has, is their customers, first and foremost. So you don't want to turn that off.
I just wanted to add that one of the things, because we didn't really, other than gift certificates, we didn't really have a product that we could sell during the time of pickup or shipping or delivery. Someone had told me, just don't hide, don't go under a rock. It's like still be visible. And, one of the things that I started doing was, to a sense of community and to inspire people, is I took some of our photos that were the real scenic photos from the rooftops, and I started hashtagging I believe in Asheville, because I truly do believe in Asheville, because we have had a history of being down before and coming back. So I just wanted that to be a positive message that that got out there. So we're not talking so much about tours, because especially when people have lost their jobs and have a lot of expendable income to do that kind of thing, it was real important to me not to push that. But once everybody does start to travel, then, I think for us, that'll be the time to do that.
And it's not too late to push Mother's Day. You can you can sell certificates. We can sell some great tea and all these other things that we have available. So it's not too late.
Always.
Use
Yeah,
Mother's
and
Day.
I always found that working, everything y'all have said is really valuable. Working with clients when they were setting up their cash flow and their cash flow process, to always make sure that there was money in there for marketing. It is, again, I think marketing means cash flow. That's what I always try to get people to understand. If you're down on cash flow, it's usually because you haven't marketed or marketed to the right demographic. So that's really important. I think we have maybe one more question from Tara, and then we can open it.
Sure, yeah, we just have one more question on our list, and then we're happy to take questions from people who are attending. If you want to go ahead and put them in the chat, we'll be able to see those and I can read them out. So our last question is, other than capital, which we know we always all need money to do the most, what do you think your business needs the most in the coming years?
Well, I feel like this has been the theme of the day for me, but I definitely feel like continuing to move forward, we're going to continue to need guidance and support and perspective, both from folks who have experienced economic downturns like this and pulled businesses through this type of event, so that we can best move forward from it. I think that will be something we'll definitely need now and continuously for the next year or two. Yeah, that's the thing that sticks out in my mind the most, I think, is, having perspective and help to be able to work through this unprecedented time.
Yeah, and I think continuing to find platforms like this, even if we get tired of, being on Zoom and not being able to go to the Small Business Week celebration or whatever, I still find it really valuable to get together and just learn what everyone else is doing. I've learned so much today that I can share with, people who come in for coaching or on future webinars, and just continuing that feedback loop is really important. So thank you.
That's so true. I think actually that makes me think that's the other thing we'll need is our community, and it's hard when we're all social distancing and we're not able to have meetings or be together like we would have been, or, go to tailgate markets and events and things for our business that I've always loved, because we could connect with our customers and with our community and our friends. And so, yeah, I think having platforms to find a way to still develop community is huge.
Yes. Do you want to answer? And then we also have a question in the chat after, if you want to answer what you think you'll need in the coming year.
I think for us, I agree with community support because, you know, word of mouth here in Asheville and any community is huge. And I also think that, you know, as things go along and hopefully, you know, more and more people will return to Asheville, we get those local people to come on the tours as well. And so then, you know, probably some guidance or some help with on how to grow a business, you know, because right now, you know, my mindset is, you know, just keeping the business going and, you know, looking at some growth opportunities and what would that mean, because that's almost like a second or third generation for me of, okay, now I'm going to put that hat on and what is that going to look like? So just some help and guidance and trying to figure all of that out.
I also wanted to add, you may already know about this, Kaye. I'm not sure it would apply to you right now, Jessie, but there was $5 million that came into this area for businesses with tourism, focused on tourism. There are $50,000 grants that will be reviewed by Mountain BizWorks starting today, I think it is, that you can apply. So if your business is like Kaye's and is focused on tourism, there's another opportunity to support your business to get it back where it needs to be.
Agreed.
Sharon, while you're talking about that, we actually have a question. I'm curious if you have any opinions on short and long-term outlook on financing for new businesses in a post-COVID world and a possible recession. So I think people might also be wondering about funding for existing businesses, like you talked about, businesses impacted by the downturn in tourism, you know, keeping tourism quelled in the face of this virus, but also for startups. So maybe for both existing businesses and startups, the funding outlook, you or Sharon Harvey.
Well, I would say, as I said earlier, the SBA, one of the things that we're doing post-COVID to support entrepreneurs that are either starting up and for those that are needing expansion during for their business, we are offering deferred terms, and we're also paying the first the first 6 months on your taxes and your interest. So those are some of the things that we're doing to try to help those small business owners out as well. And then just to keep in mind that we're still here to help all of those that are still needing help on, you know, understanding their finances, because there is a big need, you know, when you're looking for money, what that actually looks like, how you're going to repay it, and what you're actually going to do with the money. So, you know, there's some things that we can all help with as far as the resource partners before we even get to the money part. And then we can help direct you to those lenders, because lenders are still, you know, they're banks, they're in business. So they're still going to be needing customers post-COVID. And we are here to help direct you to whether that's someone that needs, you know, $500 to buy a new, you know, small piece of equipment or something like that, to those that, you know, you might need to hire a new employee based upon COVID, and you now need to pivot, because I've talked to people who, you know, they're going from now maybe trying to find customers to sellers to try to sell their product. So, I mean, just depending on, you know, where you are. And once again, all the resources are here to help you to figure out, how do we pivot? How do we move? You know, how do we find our next customer, or how do we, you know, figure out maybe how to broaden our base? So we're here to help you, whether it's, you know, trying to figure out what your finances are and how they look, and then also help you to prepare for going to see a lender.
That's great. That's great information. I don't really have anything else to add to that, other than, you know, there's 4 or 5 CDFIs in this region, and all of them will be looking towards their funding, which is federal funding, for them to find opportunities, especially now for startups, because every time there's a downturn, anytime somebody wants to start up a business, then the banks and even the CDFIs use more discretionary, you know, causes those loans. So I do believe that the government, SBA also being a part of that, will be working to have products that will service the entrepreneurs in this area.
I do have a question, or maybe it's a thought, because that's a really good question that this person has asked. But has it gotten more competitive in terms of startup funding? I mean, it was already competitive, but when you think about long term, you think about someone who, for example, may have had a restaurant, and maybe they didn't survive COVID, and the restaurant went out of business. But before that, it was pretty successful. They did pretty well. A year from now, they may want to start all over. So it just got more competitive. How much of that do y'all see in terms of, I mean, when you think about competition, you think about who's going to get a loan, those people will have a leg up over someone who's a fresh, new entrepreneur. They got history, they got experience, they know the game, they've learned some things. So it just got more competitive, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that Kaye and Jessie can probably attest to this, because as they came into the market, I wasn't with Jessie, but Kaye was in a whole nother career when she got here and was retiring. And it did not go along with what, I mean, if you'd have looked at it on paper, you'd have said, nah, not this one. But she had some things to the secret sauce. And the secret sauce is having a good application, a strong application. And she did her research and she did her work ahead of time. And from talking to Jessie, the same thing happened. So I always say nothing's impossible, but you got to be prepared. And I think that's part of not the problem, of what you do to get there.
Gotcha.
And that's why I was stressing that, yes, I think the money's going to be there. The money's going to be there, but to make sure that you're ready to get the money, that your plan is good, that your finances are solid, even your projections. If you're a new business, you know, we got to make sure that you can tell the story and that you know what you are going to, you know, your endeavor. So we want to be able to let them know, we know this is not a 9 to 5. I know that, you know, I've got to jump into this, you know, 7 days a week, you know, 16, 18, 20 hours a day. And if that's what it takes to sell it, then that's what we have to help the small businesses do. And I believe there's going to be a lot of businesses that come out of necessity. You know, jobs, I mean, I hate to say it, but employers have found out that they can do things with less bodies. They've had to rely on technology and some things that weren't in play 2 months ago. So now it's, you know, although the SBA is trying to say, here, take some money so that you can bring your employees back to work. We don't care if they're working or if they're at home. But some businesses are just saying, you know what, we can actually survive with 15 employees versus 20. And then so now what are these 5 people going to do? If they can't find a job, they're probably going to say, what skills did I take away from here? And now I'm going to start my own business to take care of myself, which is what most small business owners want to do. They want to control their own destiny. So I see a lot of that coming out of that. And we have to be able to help them figure out the process and, you know, where is the money and how to prepare for the money.
So that just made it even more competitive because you added another group.
Yeah, maybe Jessie will talk to us about this. She is great at projections and also had to put her business together to be in front of people several times to sell herself. But she's really good at projections, and I watched her go through that. Tell us a little bit, Jessie.
Thanks, Sharon. I was just, flashbacking through that process. But the first thing I wanted to say is that I was in a very different career field also, and that I had never pitched my business to investors. I don't think I even had a solid vision, honestly, if I'm honest, before I started that process about where I wanted this to go. I did gain skills, like you say, and experience in creating financial projections and budgets in my previous work. So I took that with me, but I had never started a business before or pitched for funding or applied for a business loan or any of those things until last year. So I can totally relate to all of that. It was a really exciting process. It did require a lot of work. One of the most valuable things that I think happened for me was that I developed my pitch deck but that required me to dive into every single piece of this business. You know, what do my financials look like? What is a very clear vision? What are our very clear, unique value proposition elements to be able to communicate that succinctly and clearly? Yeah, so it was a big challenge, but I think those are the things that helped make that successful for us. We did close a capital raise in December successfully, yay. So that was great. And I think really taking the time to dive into each aspect of those parts of the business and present in front of people multiple times until you could get to a point, you know, for me, where I felt comfortable that I was communicating the main points fairly succinctly. You know, that process was really helpful. And shout out to Steve Poland at the Small Business Center because he helped me create our financial projections as well to be able to present to investors. So again, with the support, it was great to have that that support and some templates to know what kind of what that needed to look like and what the standard was. Also, shout out to Mountain BizWorks and to the High Country Impact Fund because Jeffrey Scott from the High Country Impact Fund was also a mentor to me throughout that process and made that really helpful. So look for mentors too. That's helpful, and dive into the business plan because I really don't think I had a solid business plan until I went through that process and came out of it with one. So that felt good. I hope that's helpful.
Duane, I think you need to talk to people just briefly about making sure they're aware of all the pitch opportunities that are available that will be to us.
Well, we got something really awesome coming up that I've really been biting my tongue on until it's starting to bleed. But and so thank you for the prompt on that. But those of you who may not know, I'm the co-chair of a group that's been around for quite some time called Spark Tank, and Sharon Oxendine is one of the first original members of the Spark Tank committee, if you will. And this year we actually became incorporated. Sharon is a part of that membership, and we have an ancillary program that we call Catapult, which is an opportunity for folks to come in and pitch. And we actually have a website. It's published. I will actually put if you don't mind, I'll put the web link in the chat box. And we are having an event coming up in June. It's a Catapult event. It has not been quite ironed out, but it is for those folks who need some specific business assistance and who have already connected with a resource provider. Because we want to make sure that folks have been vetted somewhat by our resource providers before they apply for Catapult. So that's coming through the pipe, and that's a really great thing that we're really excited about. And then there's also the Asheville area micro grant is also available, Sharon. That just Jeff Kaplan's Venture Asheville group. That's a really cool thing they've done. It's a community grant. And I think they're doing like $5,000 for the top 5 businesses who qualify for that. So that's something else that I think folks should really keep on their radar. And then the SBTDC, they do a program called Taking the Leap. They started working with startups, and that's a really good fast track for folks to kind of look into. But Jessie kind of clued everyone in. It's really important that people realize that they can tap into a number of resource providers because our expertise individually is somewhat limited, and we know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So that's what really makes us great as well. We work really well together to provide a comprehensive, like I said earlier, a comprehensive resource. So I'll put that Spark Tank, that sparktanknc.org web link in the chat box, and you can check it out. Thank you, Sharon.
The thing is, we're free.
We're free.
We're free.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing people need to keep in mind for themselves, and then for other people that they know that, all the resources that we've talked about today are free and confidential.
Mm-hmm. So do we have any more questions from our attendees? Do you want to put any questions in? Do we have any questions there?
There's no more. If anyone has another question, please put it in.
Oh, and Tara's also a member of Spark Tank. Thank you, Tara. She's a executive committee member, so.
Thank you, Duane.
Yeah, thank you.
So how about if we don't have any questions, I'll look out into the participants and ask if anybody wants to share something that you're doing that we were talking about earlier. Maybe something that you've come up creatively with during this time, or how you're handling some of your challenges. I recognize a good many of you entrepreneurs out there today, so if you'd like to raise your hand or to chat about that, we can open up your box so you can talk. Nobody? Okay. Well, I think we're not at the 2:30 hour, we're at the 2:16, but if there's not any more questions, I'd just like to thank everyone for your participation today. I'm glad we're recording this. And Duane, where can everybody find the recording?
So Zoom will send me a link to it, and then I'll send it out, and we can put it in our social media platforms. And then we'll also get a copy to everyone who's in attendance today. So.
Right, and Jason Mohammed just put something in to the chat box. He started a podcast and he has a new website, and he looked at his website there. So be sure to take a look at that.
And one last thing, I did not mention, another pitch opportunity would be 1 Million Cups. I think they've gone virtual. You all may confirm that. But that is a great opportunity for folks. Like Jessie said, it's really good to just get the repetition in and pitch your concept as much as possible. So 1 Million Cups is another great opportunity.
How about Laura Ford, the face of the Women's Business Center? Would you like to share with us what's coming up, how people can come in and start working with the Women's Business Center, and how all of that works, since you do such a great job? Let's hear from you.
Sure. So if you want to get a hold of anybody at the Western Women's Business Center, you can go to our website, www.bcnc.org. We also have on our website our events calendar, which you can click on and get a list of our calendars up for the month of May. We have some great workshops coming up. We have, a small business loan, preparing for a small business loan. We have a deep dive class that's going to be held. It's going to be with Desiree Stark, and it's not about what you say about yourself, but also about what others say about you. So it's helping you build your reputation. So that'll be on the 14th of this month. We have our African American Business Association meeting on the 19th. That's the third Tuesday of every month. And this month there'll be discussions on resiliency for your business. And we have a Marketing with a Bang class coming up on May 20th. So we have different workshops every month. If anybody is in need of any coaching, we do one-on-one coaching. We have our workshops. We can help you with some technical assistance. You could just reach out to us. You can contact me. My email is on the site, but it's lford@carolinasmallbusiness.org. And please like us on our Facebook page, because that's how we put things out there and make our announcements of what's coming up. So if you could like us on our Facebook page and share it with your friends. And you can find my phone number and my contact information on the website. Thank you all for being here today. That was great to celebrate.
That was great, Laura. Thank you. And Tara just completed our newsletter yesterday. So if you want to get in touch with us and get on the contact list for our newsletter, that's one way to do it, is to sign up to be a member or to be a part of the Women's Business Center, to be a client. And that's how Kaye and Jessie got started. So, I mean, hey, look at them today, and they're still here. So shout out to Jessie, to Ashley Swanger for all the work she did with us. And I'm still in touch with her. I made a great friend there because of you. Duane or Sharon, you wanted one last thing for y'all to close it out, and then we'll be done.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that's on the call. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you for the Western Women's Business Center, and thanks to Duane. I want to say let's continue to celebrate. Let's continue to grow. I know we're in a time where things aren't positive, but we got to stay positive to move forward. Once again, I'm Sharon Harvey with the U.S. Small Business Administration. I service the western part of North Carolina. So if you're in need, you have COVID questions, or I'm a small business and you need some assistance, or you've been in business for a year or two and you've never heard of the SBA, or you're not really sure what we do, you can shoot me an email at sharon.harvey@sba.gov. Once again, it's just my name, sharon.harvey@sba.gov. So you can continue to communicate with me through email. And as soon as this pandemic is over, I'll be at that wonderful building, which is in Duane's corner. And I'm housed at the AB Tech building on the second floor with the Western Women's Business Center. So continue to be safe, be prosperous, and have a great day.
That was great. There's nothing I have left to say. Thank you for allowing me into the room, if you will, onto the webcast. And it's always great collaborating with you all. And Jessie and Kaye, it's great just hearing about all the great things that you're doing. Very inspiring. You two are so inspiring, and thank you for just continuing to plug away and represent entrepreneurship. Not just this week, but at all times. You're an asset to the community. We really appreciate that. I'm not going to get into Small Business Center programs, but I'll say we have a lot of them. We have not missed a beat. Like I said, if you look at our calendar, you would never know there was a pandemic because we're still rolling. So you can check out our programs at abtech.edu/SBC. You can email me at duanecadams@abtech.edu. Follow us on Instagram, AB Tech Small Business Center, and Facebook. Thank you.
No, thanks, Duane.
All right.
Yes. Have a great Small Business Week. Celebrate all your accomplishments, guys, because you're worth it. And we're really glad to be here for you.
Yeah.
Here. See you
Thanks,
soon.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.